What's going on, brother? How's it going?
Yeah, man. Good, dude. Battling a little weather. It's rainy for like the next 7 days, but
Ooh,
that's the Pacific Northwest. I'm looking to get a overhang umbrella set up on the boat, so
ooh,
so I don't get dumped on out there. But
there you go.
we're gonna test a couple things out. We're gonna see. I actually want to start getting some footage out on the boat too. Maybe a little GoPro chest mount action.
Oh, I love it. You
Get
gonna
some
start
fishing.
posting that on your social?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe even not on my Fit with Matt stuff, but maybe I don't know. We'll just see. I
Fish
think it'd
with
be cool to come up with some different footage.
Fish with Matt. That's your new maybe
Fish with
the
Matt. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I've just been anxious to get out there and just it's not worth it when you're getting dumped on the whole time. It's like you're soaked, man. I mean, even in the right gear, it's kind of just like it's a bummer. But I don't know if I was talking it or speaking it into existence or what, but like the Instagram ads targeting me with umbrellas for your boat are insane right now.
dude. It's crazy what they do on there. It's you literally you say one word about something, or you think. I think they're in our minds too. You might not even
That's what I'm
say.
saying.
It's like you just think it. You're like, oh, I could this maybe we'll think about doing this. All of a sudden, it's like straight fucking ads right at you.
Dude, I didn't that's what I'm saying. I never searched for that, you know? It was just something I was kind of thinking about like I didn't even know it was a real thing. Like I didn't know you could. I haven't really seen anybody do it. And then sure enough, it was just like marine overhang umbrella for your boat, like attachment. I'm like, what? Yeah. So I don't know, man. I think they're good. I think they're really good at what they do.
They are. It's scary, actually. Like
Yeah.
a huge lack of privacy. It's like the social. What was that one documentary? You ever watched that one on Netflix that was about? It took people who used to work for like Facebook and all these
Oh
big
yeah.
corporations. I forgot what it was. But it was wild what they were saying.
Yep.
What
Even the
was
former employees, right? Like that when they were interviewing them. Yeah.
even like high? It was like higher up people at some of these companies that no longer
Yeah.
work there. That were talking
Yeah. Yeah.
about all that stuff, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's insane, dude. They know more about us than we actually care, you know, or even on our radar, you know, like they know everything they need to know. They were so strategic on how they post things, the colors that they use, the fonts, the redirects, like everything, man. It's like a science. They have it broken down to just understanding human psychology and motor patterns and behaviors and which is a crazy thing. It's like an art, it's a skill. Like you kind of feel violated, but at the same time, it like interests me. I'm like, oh, that's interesting from like a
Yeah.
marketing perspective, right? You know, diving into it, like how do you get the right people? How are they doing that? There's definitely strategy behind it where they have entire dedicated teams to doing it, you know, like making little shifts like, oh no, let's move that button up here. Percentages show and data shows that it performs better. We get X amount better when we do this. And like little small tweaks. It's kind of like running ads, right? Like, I don't know if you ever ran ads, but like Facebook ads is the same thing. It's like, you're just retargeting, you're testing A versus B, you know, and just kind of comparing and see what works better. And sometimes all you do is like tweak the headline. Sometimes all you tweak is a little bit of piece of the copy. Maybe it's like one line, or sometimes you tweak the colors on something. Like you don't even change the page, you just change the color, and a color will have higher conversion sometimes. Like it's crazy that teams are just dedicating their entire job, well-being, existence to like those little intricacies to create thousands and millions of dollars in a company, you know?
They have all those different like A, B, C, D tests
Yep.
that they have, and it's like the same ad, different colors. But they get you too because I've had they talk about how many touches or how many times you need to see something before you actually pull the trigger on it. And I've
Yep.
had many times where they get me like I've seen an ad like 30 times and then eventually like and it's like in the back of your head you're like this might be a good gift or a good like
Yeah.
present for somebody, and then all of a sudden you're like fuck it, let's do it.
What item got you like that, where it's something that you maybe not initially purchased on the first time, but like they retargeted you time and again, whether it was emails, whether it was ads, like what's the item that got you?
It was this gift that I ended up getting from Marissa for I forgot what it was for her. It was either her birthday or something like that. It was like a painting of. It was like you put your photo in, and it's like a custom painting with whatever word you want to say below it. really cool thing. But I had saw it like months and months and months earlier, but I constantly, probably every week, would just see it pop up, on my Instagram feed when I'm scrolling. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like kind of pinned it in the back of my head for like some time later. I'm like, that'd be a good gift at some point. And then eventually like her birthday came around this past year and I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's get
I'm
it
gonna do
done.
it. Yeah. So it took you what's the total time you think from the first time you saw the ad to when you pulled the trigger to purchase? What was that time frame?
I would say it was like 4 or 5 months.
Months. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It was months for sure. I've been anywhere at least 3 months. It was a long period of time, but I probably saw it. It might have been upwards of 50 plus times that I saw that
Yeah.
ad, or I saw like that company or like a version of it. And
Which
then
is insane, dude. So like 50 touches, a minimum of 50 touches, right? Like,
yeah, probably
putting
was
it
more like
probably
some
more,
people, I probably like
probably more.
didn't register a few times or dozens of times.
Yeah. Mine was a pair of jeans. Mine was a
Mm.
Barbell Apparel jeans. I don't know if you've had them
Oh
or
yeah, yeah.
used
I've
them.
never used them, but I've heard.
Yeah, dude. And it was right at the time when I was trying to find a pair of jeans that fit, that actually fit. My biggest struggle is if I find a pair of jeans that fit like in the thighs, though I'm swimming in the waist. The waist is super big. I don't know if you have that problem too,
Yeah,
but like, and then if I find ones that actually fit my true waist size, I can't even pull them over my thighs. Right. So it's like, so I was like, huh, this company is specifically Barbell Apparel made for like athletic builds, but they were a little pricey. They were like $160 for me. Like, dude, I don't even like I don't buy jeans, I don't really own pairs of jeans, They don't fit me. And then if I do buy them, I'm thinking what, like maybe 50, maybe $70 at the most, That's kind of what I'm thinking. And these things were like 150, $160. And then they had like promo deals on them. And again, I'm seeing their ads all the time, all the time. Like, you just keep giving it some thought. I'm like, well, I'm trying to justify it. Like, well, maybe it's one pair, like $150. Like, yeah, it's kind of expensive, but what if they fit amazing? Because right now I have 0 pairs of jeans that fit. I haven't found that company or a brand that can fit my body, like comfortably. And finally, dude, they had a sale, right? They had got me like, finally it brought down like their jeans to like $100 or something like that with like the sales that they had. And I think it was free shipping too. And then finally I pulled the trigger, but that was probably same, dude. It was probably like 6 months, maybe longer, maybe longer. Yeah. But it's
that's
crazy.
cool.
They retargeted me.
I
They
like them.
knew, what's that?
Do you like them? They're good.
Oh, I love them. I bought another 2 pairs. Yeah, so I have I have 3 pairs now. I ended up buying like a pair of like chinos that like kind of show the ankle a little bit, kind of like a straight bottom, and then um yeah, a couple like a pair of blue jeans, and then I got a black pair. So yeah, I ended up buying a couple more after that. After I was sold that they fit, they have a little bit of stretch to them, like you can literally squat in these things. Like I was like, this is unreal, dude. Like this is crazy. So then they give you, this is how they're smart too, on their checkout when you're purchasing something. I think they gave you an additional like 40% or another $50 off when you're in that cart window, right? Like, so right when you check out, they basically throw up another screen with like, I think it was like a 30-minute countdown, maybe even less. Maybe it was like 15 minutes for you to decide in that moment, like, hey, if you want to get another pair, you can get another pair for an additional $50 off. So you're basically getting 2 pairs for 200 versus 2 pairs for 300, right? Like, but on that first one, I didn't know if they were going to fit. So I didn't take them up on the
Yeah.
deal. On the second one, I was like, I wonder if they still have that thing that'll pop up, that gives you that crazy offer on that next pair. And so I bid on that, right? Like, cause I knew it was going to pop up, and sure enough, it did again. So then I got another pair. I was like, okay. But yeah, man, they get you. But at the same time, yes, they got me, but I think it's a win-win for both sides too, right? Like that's how I'm looking at it. And I think there's a lot of scenarios where it's win-win, where I would continue to purchase from this company in the future versus like if you've ever been in a scenario where you either got scammed or you got the short end of the stick, you're like, yeah, I bought this, but I would never buy this again, like, or you're in that scenario. Maybe this is a one-time buy thing. I don't know if you've been in that scenario.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, if you like, it's like when you buy cheap. We've talked about this many times on the
Yeah.
podcast. When you buy something that's cheap, it generally ends up failing on you, breaking on you, and then you end
Yep.
up buying a real thing anyway. And so I
Yeah.
think $160 for jeans, but you can wait for $100, and they're more expensive than most jeans, but they also actually fit good. They
They
feel
fit
good,
great, dude.
like can be mobile.
It's so weird to find a pair of jeans that just fit your waist and your thighs. They literally catered them to people who train and work out, have an athletic build, and it's just like it's so cool, man. Because think about the majority of the population out there; they're just trying to sell to the pear shaped body, right? Like the average person. And I'm just like, man, that's cool, it's great, but I literally cannot find a pair of jeans that fit me. And jeans are like those weird things. I think it's different with like shorts and pants or sweats or things like that. They have like an elastic waistband and so or drawstrings, and so it's it's not such of a big deal. But you want a pair of jeans that like fit where the actual button and zip up and like it fits your waist and your thighs. Like that's tough to find, man. And so they did it. I think they hit it on the head. And I know there's other companies out there too, but for whatever reason, they were on top of their marketing and like they were the only brand that I saw. I didn't see I know there's other brands out there, but they were the only one that was like constantly in my face. And it's probably because I kept clicking their ads too.
You're
But
looking at
they're retargeting, right? But yeah, man, props to them, dude. And it's a great product. Like I would stand by their product for sure. It's crazy. I think Caleb did like some either marketing for them or something. He was on some of the pictures. Remember Caleb?
the NCAA.
Yeah. He was on like some of the pictures on like some of the models on. I haven't asked him. I should ask him about that.
Oh
But
wow,
he was on there. I was like, that's Caleb. He was on the on one of their. I forget. It was a pair of jeans, I think, because they have other clothes on there too. But
that's
he
cool.
was like modeling a pair of jeans on there. I think he probably knows them. I would imagine. But
Yeah,
yeah, it was pretty cool.
maybe he has a relationship with the owner or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah. Pretty interesting though.
that's
What's
awesome.
going on with you, man?
Yeah, nothing great. Well, it's a new year, so as we're recording this, Happy New Year.
Oh yeah.
It's January 2nd as we're recording this, and I guess low key, like holidays were pretty low key. It was relaxing Christmas, just chill New Year. We actually didn't even stay up till midnight, and now like hitting the ground running. Actually started like really trying to hit the ground running a little bit before the New Year for me. Like as far as I know, everybody's and their mothers trying to get in better shape for the New Year. Right, that's the main goal. And for me, it's not necessarily like getting in better shape. It's more like getting back dialed into my routine. I think
Mm-hmm.
for me, I kind of realized the last like month, especially of the year, I kind of fell off of like my routine of really being more intentional with my workouts and like having a good solid morning routine that's like not very long but like hits different things that I really need to be in a good mindset going into the day. So that's kind of my big movement going into the next year is to like get up, do some sort of like short meditation and gratitude, do some sort of exercise, whether that's even just 100 push-ups if I'm in a little bit of a pinch for the day, but like doing something in that's gonna like push my body right away in the morning. That's 5 minutes, 45 minutes. It's gonna differ day by day. Doing some sort of like just short reading, like 5 pages in the morning, and then getting a good solid breakfast in, like good high protein breakfast. That's my goal. I know it's going to lead me to feeling better and getting in better shape anyway. That's going to be the side effect, but I'm choosing to focus on just like the habits that I'm going to build in that morning routine again. That is already becoming just second nature again. Just after doing it for like three or 4 days here to start the end of the year into the start of the year.
Yeah, which is cool. Like you're in that reigniting phase where habits that they've been practiced for long periods of time, and the second maybe a little small short duration you've deviated from them a little bit. In that scenario, it's cool. It's kind of fun because you've put in the work previously. You're just reigniting those things, and once you bring them back up, it's going to send that signal to your brain of like, oh yeah, I remember how I feel optimal when I do these things, and it's going to entice you to want to do them more, and it'll feel like they haven't even gone anywhere in a very short, condensed amount of time, which is a huge benefit of being experienced, right? Of having done that and taking care of your body and giving a shit about your health, and like versus somebody who's starting from scratch, like their process going to be a lot harder. It's going to take them a lot longer, right? They don't have that compounded interest just in the bank that they can go back to and be like, kind of reignite, so to speak. They're like, man, I'm starting investing in my stock in me right now. Like this is,
Yeah,
and so it's cool, man. You're in a good spot. That's for sure.
That's a good way to put it, right? It's like it's like a stock. It's like sometimes people are starting at zero, right? Like, and you're building that stock up.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes like maybe you've built that stock up to 100 and you've letting it fall to 80, or 50 or 60, like wherever it is. And then it's like, let's build that back up to 100. I guess that's kind of where I feel like I'm at. Like, it's like, we have these habits that I know are there, and it's not like they've gone away completely, right? I
Mm-hmm.
still do most of the things. I still have worked out 3 days a week, very consistently throughout the year. It's just like the intentionality behind it. And there's something about like getting up. I remember this used to be such a big focus for me. It's like something about like in the first half hour of the day, getting some sort of sweat in or getting some sort of like exercise in that just energizes you and you feel so much better. You also feel so much more accomplished. And so I think that's just my focus is just getting that in, whether, just like I said, some sort of workout in, even if it's just 100 push-ups that day, just doing that. And I'm trying to hit like just the different, almost doing like kind of a little bit more circuit based here to start to kind of hit the ground running, where it's like I'm hitting 100 push-ups as quick as I can. I'm hitting like 5 sets of pull-ups. I was doing single leg squats one day. Today I did single leg RDL, and
Nice.
just hitting 100 reps of those as quick as I can, or as a minimal amount of sets that I can.
Mm-hmm.
And then doing some sort of core, whether that's like dead bugs today, ab rollouts, like hitting 50 reps or 100 reps based on what the exercise is and how difficult it is. And
Yeah.
so even I think that's a good lesson for some folks out there, where even a lot of the stuff, one of the days it was just a straight body weight day, right? I guess I did use like the pull up bar that hangs in your
Doorway.
right, the
Yeah.
doorway one. I mean, for anybody out there, it works well for really any house. And it's how much are those? Let me check and see, like the doorway pull up bar.
They're pretty damn affordable. We used to have one. Shout out our old manager that used to run the store in San Jose. Her name's Jen. And me and my buddy Kenny used to put one of those doorway pull-ups on her office door. And every time we'd go into her office, we'd hit a set of 10 and we'd have like a little whiteboard tally mark in there. So as we're working, dude, we're
I
hitting
see
pull-ups.
that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the way to do it though. And they're 30. You can get one on Amazon for $30.
$30, dude.
Yeah, like it's a body weight. One of the best exercises you can do for your whole back and biceps and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that one day is like just body weight. You can
Mm-hmm.
hit just so much the way you do push-ups, like just putting like doing pauses at the bottom or just doing a ton of reps. Like you're going to work that chest very similarly to doing bench press in some respect. Obviously, like you won't be able to put as much weight on there, but you still will feel that you're going to get that pump, and it's going to
Oh
provide you
yeah.
good benefits, right? Put your feet up, just like a lot of different ways to do it. But it just goes to show that you really don't need to do anything out of this world to make a lot of progress with your body and to make a lot of like strength gains too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's cool. You mentioned getting back into your morning mindset and getting some movement going, as well as like some mental clarity. And I think you even said getting back to books and like reading and doing that as well. Is there anything right now that, or you're wanting to get back into it, or have you started reading yet again?
No, I've started. You actually sparked me to get back and read Atomic Habits. And
Cool.
so
Yeah. Yeah, for
I
sure.
know you mentioned that, I think last podcast. You're like,
Yeah.
I started reading Atomic Habits, and
So
that's what
great.
I stared reading that a few days ago. And
So
so
great, dude. Like,
it's good. Like once you start doing that again, it's like, oh, this feels good to read it. But it also goes to show it's so easy to like let something slip, because for 2 straight years, just about I read every day.
mhm.
Right? Even I would read for 30 minutes, which is a little bit more unattainable in certain parts of the year sometimes for folks. But like just reading 5 pages takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how tough the book is to read or how fast you are of a reader. And that's like just enough to like sometimes like I've read that much and I've just kept going a little bit more because I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I want to see what's next and I want to keep going. But it's like in Atomic Habits where he says like do something for a minute, right? Like
Yep.
and do exercise for a minute, and then you're
Yep.
going to find that you build that up. And so it's nice to do though. I just kind of looked at my life, some of my habits, and I was like, you know what? I've gotten away from some of those things that I used to do every morning or day that helped me feel my best. And I found that even just from doing them for a few days, and my mindset's starting to shift again and be in like a little bit better place in the morning.
It's such, yeah. And it's cool too. You brought up a good point of like, you thought about that in terms of habits, right? Like you thought about in terms of the habits that you're not doing that maybe you used to, or on the flip side, maybe habits that weren't necessarily serving you, right? Like, and I think if more people thought in those terms, specifically like with health and fitness, but it could really be anything, like, are the habits that I'm doing almost subconsciously that like fly under the radar that I do on a daily basis, are those serving me, or are those getting me closer or further away? And like, if you can have the skill to kind of just level set and be like, what do I do on a regular basis that is like, do when I get home, do I immediately turn the TV on and I go sit in front of the TV and basically the whole day's over? Like there ain't no workout getting done. And I also, when I sit down, I have a tendency to snack. Like, if people took inventory of their habits and saw where they were steering them wrong, because I think we forget about that a lot of the times. We just want to like do what we're currently doing and then get a different outcome, or we want like this different result. Like I want to continue to come home after work and sit on the couch. And I'm just using that as an example. Like people can do that and be super fit and healthy. But if you do that and you understand it's not serving you because it's forcing you to be lazy and you're just kind of in autopilot, like taking inventory of those things, I think is phenomenal. It's definitely a skill, right? Like most people are afraid to do it, want to turn a blind eye to it. It's uncomfortable. They just want to all of a sudden go from where they're currently at to doing these drastic changes come January 1st, like we're seeing people do right now. Every year we see that.
Yeah.
But I think if people took more inventory of their habits and figured out what are the ones that are serving me, what are the ones that are not, and they just looked at those and they just focused on those and shifted the habits to direct towards the outcome that they desire, I think it would stick for a lot of people, a lot more people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it really is the going too crazy that just throws people off. It's going from 0 to 100, and you only have to do that a few times to know that it's just not the right approach, right? And it works for some people too, right? Like it's like some people will be able to go from 0 to 100 and then like stick with it, and it's great. But a lot of times there's a lot more resistance in there, and you got to push through a lot more of that resistance instead of just doing the classic meet yourself where you're at. What are your current habits? How can we add a few more of these in, or like build a habit up? And just crazy the results you see when you go about that way. Oh, and one other thing I did think about is that and that I missed with my morning thing is like not doing any of that with a phone, right? Because I found that this is something like that. It's so easy for anybody to. It's like all of a sudden that phone consumes your life, and you find like the first thing in the morning, maybe you're popping on Instagram, and you're like, and then all of a sudden you're on YouTube, and then you're watching videos, and it's like you get 30 minutes, 60 minutes into your day, and half of that time has been consumed by your phone, or like you're doing all these other things with your phone. And I think that's a huge thing too. So I've tried to like just keep my phone on the nightstand if I can, or like if I bring it with me, it's just like for like if I need it to look at a few things like related to my workouts or whatever, that's cool. But not using it in the sense of visuals and Instagram and checking on different things for the first period of time until I'm really done with those things that I really want to get done. And I think that's something like that. I know you were talking about this not too long ago that you found that were you saying that you found that you were using the phone a little bit too much as well?
Yeah, especially because my business is on it too, right? Like, so that's the fine line that I'm constantly dancing is like, am I on Instagram to try to figure out a plan, get data from people who are really rocking it, take notes on what they're doing, try to take pieces of what they're doing to implement into my content, or am I mindlessly scrolling? And I think it was the difference of like checking myself. Am I scrolling as a consumer right now, or am I scrolling as a creator who's taking notes? And that's those two things are way different. And so I've done a better job at being able to not only put the phone down, but when I am, because there's that fine line, right? Like, again, are you consuming, or are you creating on your scroll? And I've done a lot better, like filtering out following people. And this is like a slow process because followed a ton of people over time that were just out of sheer entertainment. So I'm going back through and filtering and going, if I don't get value from this person, like I'm not going to follow them. Right. And so it's taking a long time because I followed a ton of people. It's like in the thousands, but little by little, I'll go through and like go, does this person give me value? Am I better because I follow this person? If not, it's a quick unfollow. Right. And so I'm doing that. And then also being very cognizant of what I choose to double tap and like on, so that I'm only getting shown stuff that is making me better. And of course, there's stuff that slips through the cracks. And of course, I'm human and I want to scroll and just consume. But I will say that's helped me a lot. It's helped me to be able to, so it's not just 100% consumption. It's also like, oh, I'm following some cool creators that are on here that deliver their message in a certain way. What's the length of their video? What captions do they use? Like, so I'm studying it too. And that helps a lot. So yeah, it's a fine line, man, for me especially. And when you find yourself on one side too far, it's just, you kind of got to level set and be like, okay, let me step outside of myself right now. Let me coach myself here. Am I just mindlessly scrolling? Like, be real, be honest with yourself. Are you doing that? And if the answer is yes, then I try to check myself, or I designate specific time for that too, and be like, okay, I need to finish XYZ before I go and just mindlessly scroll. It's dangerous, bro.
It's a reward.
Yeah. Yeah. Treat it as an
Yeah.
award, right? Yeah. Like put it on the tail end of the thing that I know that I have to do, because here's what'll happen. I'll go on social media with the intention of being a creator and trying to absorb and like learn some stuff. And all it takes is 1 or 2 videos, fishing or something, that catch my attention. And I'm like, boom, down a rabbit hole. And before I know it, there goes 30 minutes, there goes an hour. Right. And you're like, whoa. I got on here because I was looking at the duration for how long my video should be. And now I'm over here. It's crazy, man, how it works. But yeah, just being conscious, being self-aware. I think that's a skill. Emotional maturity, and not finding yourself being too reactive to things or being too sucked into things, and being able to just not be emotionless, but I think just in control of your emotions, and not letting them control you, and getting those quick dopamine hits and then keep going. I want more, and mindlessly scrolling, because it happens to all of us. TikTok, I think, is the worst one for me. I'm not on there as like a creator too big or anything, but like they are very good at showing you what you want to see. I'll tell you that. They're so good.
I actually stopped going on TikTok like a year ago.
Yeah.
Because of that. It was sometime around a year ago. I just like deleted it off my phone. I'm like, I'm just not going back on there.
Yeah.
Because it is the easiest one to gain followers on. Like you can gain a pretty good traction on there, and then social media and business. It's every time I would go on there with the intent of like posting a video, and 30 minutes later, I haven't even done it, and I'm watching all of it, because they literally, like you said, like they give you exactly what you want. And they know exactly when to switch it to something else that you want that hooks you. It's not just the same thing. It's like same thing, and then they turn you to like a different direction that they know you'll like. And then all of a sudden, it's been 45 minutes, and you're like, "What?" It's like, what did I even come here for? And then, and you're so far away from that. You're watching the most crazy, outrageous videos that have your attention, and it's like, what in the world? So I had to get off that thing. It was just,
it's dangerous. They got so good at being able to know our habits as humans and like what we are gravitated towards, and they just use that in the app, and they just use that to their advantage. And like, you got to think, we talked about when we first jumped on, is like, there's teams out there dedicated to keeping you on the platform, and they're going to do their best to do that. They're going to check your watch time. They're going to see what you like. They're going to see how fast you swipe on things, and all that stuff goes into what you're constantly seeing. And it's just like, man, dude, everything's being tracked, everything's being calculated. Whereas we just here as humans and consumers are just going through and going, man, I really like I'm on here for an hour. I'm on here for over an hour. We're just scrolling. It's like, they've got you sucked in, man. They've got you. They figured you out. And it's kind of scary when you think about it. Like, if you can snap out of it and you find yourself when you're mindlessly scrolling, like, I think that's a win. I think that's a big win if you can do it and like just put it down, go do something else, like snap out of the zombie mode. I think I take that as a win every time I do it.
No, that's a good point. It is like just like that boredom thing too. Like if you're yourself bored, it's so easy to just like, I struggle to sit in silence.
So hard. It's so hard.
I'm always putting like a YouTube video on or music or a podcast or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that I got to try to kind of make like a New Year's goal as well, as to move away from all the stimulation a little bit more, which kind of comes with the getting off your phone in the morning too. So that's
Yeah.
kind of a big goal for
Mm-hmm.
me. But
Yeah.
anything else new in your life? Any New Year's goals, resolutions that you have on the docket?
I just set something that I continuously try my best to pursue. And that's just, at the end of the day, I want to be better at envisioning myself in the version that I'm working towards, and keep that at top of mind as best as I possibly can. Because I know when I do that, I know I'm a better person for it. I know I'm a person who's more capable in every aspect. I know it's somebody who gives more. I know it's somebody who's stronger in every aspect. I know it's somebody who gives and demands respect. I know it's somebody who cares and gives a shit and will pursue himself physically, mentally, emotionally, all that stuff. And I know if I can, more times than not, remind myself continuously to step in those shoes each and every single day, that no matter what cards are dealt, like I'll be in a good spot. If I forget about that, and I just try to kind of go wherever the wind blows me, and don't be intentional, and kind of just satisfied or complacent with things, then I found for me it's more challenging that way. Not in a bad way, but like I'm not necessarily pursuing my best, most optimal version of me. And so in some ways I feel complacent when I do that. And so my challenge to myself is to constantly be reminded, and it just comes down to daily repetition and practice of, am I choosing to step in those shoes today and act like him? What does the badass version of me do? And filter my decision making through that person. And if I could do that, I'll be happy, man. I'll be real happy. I'll be, regardless of the outcome. And so that's what's most important to me heading into 2025 and beyond. It's not just like a New Year's resolution thing. That's something that, like you said, I'm kind of just reigniting that thing. It's always been there, but I stray from it from time to time. I forget about it. And so I want to be more consistent with it, more disciplined with it, not be harsh on myself when I stray from it, but also be quicker on the turnaround time. Be like, okay, you envision yourself, like shift your lens, right? You're in a negative lens right now. You're in a victim mentality, like snap out of it, like get back to where you belong, where you know you're capable of. And I think it lies in that turnaround time of when you deviate off the path, like how quickly can you get back on? How quickly can you redirect yourself? How quickly can you not let your emotions steer you all over the place, and be able to just be intentional, be in control, be confident.
I love that, dude. Well, hey, as we wrap this up, what I'd love you to do is, I think it'd be helpful for anybody listening to hear your steps. Like, okay, so like, what you said is, the badass version of yourself, like the true, like the goal version of yourself that you're working towards, that you're just trying to make sure that you're always making decisions based on that. But how did you go about like creating this, and how can somebody like know how to use this to help themselves this year as well? So I think this is a really important thing for folks.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just like it's constantly thinking about it. Like, what does that person look like? What do you want it to look like? What does that version of you look like at the end of the day when it's all said and done? Like, are you gonna be close to that person, or are you gonna be the furthest thing away from that version of you? And when you do envision that person, how do they carry themselves? How do they have conversations? What do they sound like? What do they do on a daily basis? Like, what decisions did they make through as I'm going through this challenge that I'm facing today? They've already been through this challenge because I'm working towards them. What did they do in this scenario? And you're going to have your answer right away. And like 9 times out of 10, now it's like, okay, now do I have the emotional clarity to be able to act on this regardless of whether I feel like it or not? Like if this person made a tough decision, if this person had to have if my most badass optimal version had to have a difficult, like challenging conversation, can I step into those shoes and be that person, act as if I am that person and have that challenging conversation? Or do I want to be my present or past me and just be complacent and be like, oh, that's too tough. Like, I don't want to do that. I'm going to settle and stay where I'm at. And so that's my challenge to myself, is go like, no, step into his shoes, regardless if it's uncomfortable or not. And because I know in doing so, and if I do it time and time again, get uncomfortable time and time again, it's going to elicit growth. It's going to push that capacity out for me. It's going to force me to be a different person, and in the best way possible, not in a bad way, like in the most phenomenal way possible. And if that's something that's important to me, it is. And if people are thinking about their most optimal version or what they want to be and pursue, then I think it's somebody that you actually want to be, right? And then if you can do that, then just go, I know in this tough scenario, I know in this tough situation, I'm harnessing, looking through their lens. And as difficult as it may be, I know I'm going to be better off for doing this. And if people can do that, I think they'll be really happy. And not to say that it's going to be easy, because it's not. If it was, everybody would do it. But I see the people that do it and envision. It's funny, like you see like either superstars or your favorite athlete or somebody you look up to, or those people, and how they envision themselves before they even got there is like a real thing. Like some of them aren't even surprised a lot of the times. They're like, no, this is what I knew I was going to be. And like, this is, so I think it's being able to have that. That's what makes you different, right? That's what makes you exceptional. That's what makes you, like, if you want to pursue that next level, to me, at least in my opinion, that's what it's about. That might not, rock or fit with everybody, but that's how I see it. That's my opinion. And that's what I choose to pursue. That's what I want to do. So if anybody else is out there looking for that, I would just encourage you to be like, ask the question of, what does that version of me look like? What is that badass version of me? What is my superhero version of me that I look up to? And if I'm not there yet, what do they do that I'm not doing? What am I doing that they're not doing? Like, figure those things out, and then just choose to step in and wear those shoes each and every single day. Act like them, be like them. How do they talk to people? How do they carry themselves? How do they make others feel? Like, that's super important too, So I don't know. It just, that would be my guess. We're all just human. So, but that's what I would do.
I can't see of any better way to end the podcast today. Cool. That's really good stuff. Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Especially that last piece there, I think is huge. We appreciate you every week listening, watching. Hopefully you enjoy this. If you do, share it with somebody, like, subscribe so you don't miss our future podcasts. And we'll be talking to you soon.